Every day, more than 180,000 cars inch through the Long Island Expressway bottleneck, America's second worst traffic grind, costing local drivers 81 hours a year and draining $1.9 billion from the region's economy. For nearly a century, the answer has seemed obvious: a bridge or tunnel connecting Long Island straight to Connecticut, bypassing endless gridlock and transforming life for 3 million residents. But after 9 decades of blueprints, studies, and soaring promises, the bridge that could transform Long Island remains just a dream. Why does the simplest solution never get built? And would it even deliver the freedom everyone expects? Every morning, the routine begins before sunrise. 3 million people, scattered across Long Island's towns and suburbs, funnel onto the same handful of roads. The Long Island Expressway becomes a slow-moving river of headlights, where the average driver spends more than 80 hours a year trapped in traffic. For some, it means missing a child's soccer game or arriving late to work yet again. For small business owners, delayed deliveries threaten their bottom line. The gridlock isn't just an inconvenience. It's a daily drain on time, energy, and money. Other options offer little relief. Ferries across the Sound promise a shortcut, but weather and breakdowns turn them into a gamble. On bad days, even the ferries are canceled, stranding commuters or forcing detours back through the city. The only direct road to the mainland and east of New York City simply doesn't exist. Every trip north or east means a detour through the city's overburdened bridges and tunnels, each one a new choke point. The numbers are staggering. Over 180,000 vehicles crawl the expressway each day. The congestion costs the region almost $2 billion a year in lost productivity. Families lose hours they'll never get back. Each wasted minute is a reminder that for Long Island, the status quo is not just frustrating, it's costly. The sheer scale of the problem leaves residents desperate for a better way. A direct crossing over Long Island Sound has always seemed like the logical answer to the region's gridlock. Imagine shaving hours off a trip to New England, bypassing the tangled arteries of New York City altogether. For families, it means less time lost to traffic and more reclaimed for living. For businesses, it promises faster deliveries and new access to markets stretching from Boston to Hartford. The lure is not just convenience, it's transformation. The numbers hint at what's possible. A bridge or tunnel could cut travel times by as much as 2 hours for some routes, opening up Long Island to the economic engine of New England. Truckers and commuters would trade endless detours for a straight shot across the Sound, linking job centers and supply chains that have always felt frustratingly close, yet out of reach. Real estate experts talk of new corridors for growth, with Long Island businesses finally able to compete on a level playing field with their mainland counterparts. The vision extends beyond the daily commute. A fixed link would connect millions of people, foster regional trade, and offer a new backbone for the Northeast's economy. Planners have long imagined it as a gateway, one that could turn Long Island from a cul-de-sac into a crossroads. With so much at stake, the idea has never faded from the public imagination. Each generation rediscovers the same question. If the need is so clear, why hasn't the bridge been built? The dream began in 1938, when Senator Royal Copeland floated the idea of an 18-mile bridge stretching from Orient Point to the Connecticut or Rhode Island shore. In an era of grand projects, the plan seemed both bold and possible. A direct link to the mainland, bypassing the city's endless congestion. But as Long Island's population exploded after World War II, the proposals multiplied and the price tag soared. In the 1960s, Robert Moses, already famous for reshaping New York with highways and bridges, made the Oyster Bay, Rye crossing his final crusade. Backed by Governor Nelson Rockefeller, Moses promised a 6-mile span that would complete the region's beltway. The state authorized the project in 1967, with cost estimates already climbing to $368 million as studies and opposition mounted. Yet the momentum proved fragile. By 1973, after years of environmental protests and mounting local resistance, the project collapsed. Even Moses, the master builder, could not overcome the tide. Each new attempt brought a higher price: $1.4 billion by 1979, $10 billion for a tunnel in 2008, and more than $55 billion by 2018. What started as a symbol of progress became a cautionary tale, each decade adding another zero, each champion finding the barriers taller than before. The numbers tell a story of ambition outpaced by reality, and a vision that keeps slipping further from reach. Engineering a fixed link across Long Island Sound means confronting a scale rarely attempted anywhere in the world. WSP's most ambitious plans imagine a tunnel stretching 26 to 29 kilometers, far longer than any highway tunnel ever built. To put that in perspective, the Channel Tunnel between England and France runs just over 50 kilometers, but carries trains, not cars and trucks. Here, the challenge is not just length, but the relentless demands of modern traffic. Designers must account for thousands of vehicles, each producing exhaust that quickly turns toxic in a confined space. Safety codes require that air quality and smoke can be controlled at all times. Yet the sheer volume of air inside a tunnel this long is staggering. While some feasibility reports cite a 90-second ventilation cycle as a benchmark, no code actually mandates such a standard. Instead, engineers must design a system capable of keeping carbon monoxide and smoke below dangerous levels, even during a fire or traffic jam. Achieving this would mean installing massive fans, ventilation shafts, and possibly even emergency islands in the middle of the Sound, features never before attempted at this scale for cars. Building such a tunnel would demand more than 16 years of construction, with thousands of workers operating around the clock. The logistics rival science fiction: custom-built tunnel boring machines, marine staging yards, and a supply chain stretched across continents. Each phase introduces new hazards, from water pressure and shifting geology to the constant risk of fire deep underground. For even the most seasoned engineers, the Long Island Sound crossing stands as a test of nerve, ingenuity, and endurance. A project where ambition meets the hard edge of physical reality. Opposition to a Long Island Sound crossing has never relied on a single dramatic lawsuit or courtroom showdown. Instead, resistance has taken root in town halls, state agencies, and homeowners associations from Gold Coast mansions to Connecticut's shoreline. Local coalitions, armed with political influence and a deep sense of ownership, have turned every proposal into a battleground. In Connecticut, powerful environmental statutes, like the Structures, Dredging, and Fill Act, give state officials the ability to block permits outright, citing the protection of shellfish beds, bird sanctuaries, and tidal wetlands. These laws act as near-absolute shields, making litigation almost unnecessary. Advocacy groups and municipal leaders deploy public comment campaigns, regulatory challenges, and relentless lobbying, arguing that the crossing would bring outsiders, erode property values, and threaten fragile habitats. Connecticut lawmakers frame their opposition as fiscal prudence, warning that their state would shoulder the costs and disruption without any benefit. Over decades, this decentralized resistance, part legal firewall, part civic mobilization, has proven more effective than any single court case, keeping the dream of a bridge or tunnel stalled at the water's edge. Transportation planners warn that a bridge or tunnel might not deliver the relief so many expect. The WSP traffic model projects up to 113,000 daily crossings, yet much of that volume would be new trips. driven by the phenomenon known as induced demand. Instead of emptying the Long Island Expressway, a new crossing could simply fill with cars that would not have traveled otherwise, keeping congestion stubbornly high on both sides of the Sound. Tolls estimated between $7.50 and $20 each way would likely restrict the benefits to wealthier commuters and long-distance truckers, leaving lower-income families still stuck in traffic or priced out entirely. In 2018, Governor Andrew Cuomo officially shelved the project, citing cost and environmental hurdles. Yet the idea refuses to die. A 2018 poll found 63% of Long Islanders still support a fixed crossing. In 2021, advocates pitched a high-speed rail tunnel as a new answer, but rising costs and regulatory walls remain. The dream lingers unresolved. Every day, more than 180,000 vehicles crawl along the Long Island Expressway, making it the second most congested roadway in the nation. For over 90 years, officials, engineers, and residents have debated a fixed link to Connecticut, an idea that promised faster commutes and economic growth, but consistently collapsed under soaring costs, technical barriers, and organized resistance. From the 1938 Copeland Plan to the 2018 Cuomo administration cancellation, each proposal faced the same fate. Recent studies reveal that even if the bridge or tunnel were built, induced demand could offset much of the relief, while high tolls would limit who could benefit. Despite 63% public support, there is no current path forward. Federal and Connecticut backing remain elusive, and environmental concerns persist. The documents and evidence show a project defined by ambition and contradiction. The Long Island Sound Bridge remains an unanswered question, its promise as real as its obstacles.